Hello everyone, it's Jazz, it's the West Ham Minds channel. Welcome, hope everyone is well. And if you haven't subscribed, I don't say it too often, I hate saying it, but if you haven't subscribed and you are watching, then please subscribe. We're trying to get to the magic 2,000 subs mark, and that'll be a wonderful achievement for me, the channel, with the help of you guys. That's the first thing. Second thing is apologies for this show, slightly later than I would normally do it. It's my kind of review of the game that's fairly quick, fairly snappy, not prolonged, because it's going to be prolonging everyone's pain, I suppose, in this situation. But it's 5 takeaways that I think of after each game. I think I did this first show after the Manchester United game, so this is the second one in the series. So I hope you're enjoying it. And again, as always put your comments down. Obviously, I'd like to reply to each and every comment as I can. So, yeah, it's kind of interaction with you guys. Yeah, 5 key takeaways from Brighton for West Ham United 0, really. So let's get on with it without any further delay. First one I want to talk about is, negative tactics. So we knew the record with Brighton is very bad. I think it's... good few defeats and then 5-6 draws before that. But this actual bad run against Brighton has always been there since the late 70s, early 80s. A bit like Luton Town. One or two teams like that we just can't get anything over. Everton, I think, was one we never used to get anything from. And it's Brighton now who's kind of carving a name as West Ham's, I don't know, bad bogey team, bad luck team, call it what you want. And what comes to mind is when David Moyes, I think it was in his first appointment, we're home to Brighton, we're winning 3-1 in the second half, and he does all these defensive substitutions, and the game finishes 3-3 due to Moyes' inability to stay positive and make the right substitution at the right time. About 2-3 years ago this was, in his first spell. We drew 3-3 and we were lucky to hold on to 3-3, right? And the guy just doesn't learn. He does not learn. And what shocks me is that, in his second spell, we did beat all the big teams, right? And he still, after that, sets up negatively all the time. And I don't think it's top 6 anymore. It's against most oppositions now. I've seen 5 at the back, 2-3 CDMs against Wolves and other teams like that. And Spurs, I mean, it's coming out the dressing room that the players began to really, really get annoyed with the setup against Spurs. It was the worst setup, well, one of the worst setups, because it's not just one now, it's many examples of David Moyes. Now, I think at home to Spurs this season it was negative, and that what really got to me thinking, I know where this is heading now. The pre-season was kind of very, very bad. Again, people said, we're just getting fit. I knew that there's nothing happening on a pre-season, no new tactics, no new formations. The players look a bit bored, still tired with the same ideas, same messages. And I remember home at Chelsea, hook or crook, Antonio scored, we're 1-0 up, gets negative again. They come back into the game and win 2-1. And, it just carries on. So negative tactics for me. Brighton, very, very apparent, and what's apparent now from some of the comments coming out is he sets his teams up worried about the opposition much more than other managers, and he just kind of said in his comments, I know how Brighton play, it's very different, it's kind of front foot, so we just need to stick people behind the ball. He never thought that, why don't we look at our own team and squad and own strengths, so why don't we try to get back at them? I know it's an away game, but certainly, give your team a chance, set up in the right way, right mentality. And time again, I say, okay, we get a lot of people behind the ball, so more often than not, we don't concede that many goals. When you look at the stats, it looks like perhaps we don't concede a lot, but when we attack, there's nothing there. Everyone's so slow in getting forward, so slow in having any ideas, so slow in passing to each other. There's no pressing game. There's no fast counter-attacks like your Liverpool, Arsenal. There's nothing there, right? So it's all good having 9-10 people behind the ball, but it's the overall cloud over the club which is so negative. It's gone into the fans' mentality. We're all depressed. The players are feeling it now. It's just shocking for him. And he's lucky that at home games, the season ticket holders account for a huge majority of West. That's why the fans have kind of been there. I think nearly all the games are sold out. That's largely due to could be 80-90% of the fan base at home. They're season ticket holders, so they've paid up front. They got to go. They're not going to get much money back from the club the way the club deals with that kind of thing. So but what you're going to see at Villa, certainly, if it doesn't go the right way, there's going to be a lot of fans leaving early, or perhaps voicing their concerns at the board, because this hasn't happened yet with Sullivan. That's why he's kind of very lazy way what he's saying, why he's not changing the manager. It's too expensive. Oh, I'm going to have to scratch my brain and look around, scout a bit. I can't be asked. I usually just dip into the first couple of managers who are out of a job, luckily, and just pick one of them. It's easy for me. So negative tactics for me. It just killed the game off. It got worse and worse and worse. And leading on to that actually is nicely Scamacca. Where is Scamacca? Absolutely mind-boggling. Second highest expensive signing, and a long line of strikers under the Sullivan Gold ownership. That again doesn't seem to be working at the moment. Came across as Italy's main number 9. Good stature, good build, good height, good on the floor, great shot on him. No issue with him. I don't know what's happened. I know he's picked up 1 or 2 injuries, and I do believe 1 or 2 of these injuries is mentally as well, because you don't want to play for West. I wouldn't want to play for West Ham at the moment, the way we're set up. Is that why you become a footballer, to just sit back and defend, even though you're an attacking player? And if you are an attacking player like Danny Ings at Brighton as an example, you're isolated. You're just told to run around. If you just expected to run around, become a runner then. As a footballer, you're expected to play with the ball at your feet, anticipate crosses, passes, score a goal. What Danny Ings is doing is just running around trying to defend you. He got knackered, and then when the ball is in the box, he's too tired to get there. It's absolutely shit show, really. Scamacca, no implication that he's gonna. I mean, apparently, I've heard that David Moyes doesn't even have enough subs sometimes. More often than what you're allowed, is usually 1 less than what you're allowed, and then he's always got 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Someone's got to tell him, you've lost the plot, mate. Go and see a doctor or something. You've gone mad, right? And obviously the second talking point, where is Scamacca? Why didn't he come on? Yeah, you're losing. You take your only creative player off, and then often you're swapping CDMs, you're swapping defenders. It's absolutely a joke for me. So that was the second key takeaway for me. Third key takeaway, is Ben Johnson. And let me start off by, before I pile into him, is that he has not been helped by the management of David Moyes and perhaps 1 or 2 managers before that. He's been there a while. He's come from the academy, done really well in 1 or 2 games. But the thing with Ben Johnson is, obviously from a management point of view, he's left back, he's right back, he's a left-sided of the 3, then he's a right-sided of the 3. There's no kind of sort of fluidity. There's no fluid sort of way of sort of controlling, managing this guy. And then when he does play in 1 or 2 positions 2 games in a row, he's often taken away. Once the other fullbacks are fit, then you won't see him again for a good few weeks and months. So it doesn't help any player gain any kind of foundation, confidence, nothing. And I would have put him on loan to help him get a run of games and see how it goes, because mentally it can't be easy. I've heard he doesn't want to sign a new contract, so that tells me he hasn't got that long left. He's probably going to join Newcastle. I ain't got a clue. But that's the first thing before I pile into him. He's not been helped by a lot of things at the club. That display at Brighton was one of the worst I've ever seen from a defender. I know they're saying, is it zonal marking or is it not zonal marking? I mean, I didn't know that Moyes did zonal marking, to be fair. It's all coming out the game at Brighton, but it's mind-boggling. It doesn't matter if it's zonal, man-to-man. When you mark your man, right? And twice, the person he was marking, he got behind him, scored a goal, set another one up. I think he got another one again or something like that. But it was a shit show from Johnson. It got that bad that when it was 2-0, I would have taken him off. Mentally, he was gone in the game. His confidence was on the floor. The guy needed, again, help from the manager, protection from the manager. I would have taken him off. And I think he must be in such a state. I'll be surprised if he plays again in the next couple of games, at least, or until Moyes finally goes. So Ben Johnson, for me, one of the worst displays defensively I've seen. He's got to look himself in the face. And also the management got to look at the way they've managed this guy, because Issa Diop this morning, the reports are he's had a more than good start to his career at Fulham, and that's a guy I used to have a go at all the time, right? So why are these players, for one reason or another, not being managed the right way or tactically taught the right way to get the best out of them, and they're leaving our club? Vlasic, Jupe, top of my head, recent cases, Haller before that. They're carving out a more than adequate career after they leave West Ham. It's mind-boggling, right? All I can do as a channel guy is comment on what I'm seeing on the pitch. If someone's bad, I'm going to say they're bad. I can't guess what's happening because of that. It could be because they are outright bad player, or it could be because they're managed in a bad way. But I'm not here in terms of the channel, what I say on the channel, behind the scenes. I am not behind the scenes. I don't speak to people behind the scenes. I don't know what's happening in these players' personal lives, often on the training ground, their lifestyles. Are they happy at West Ham? Are they not? Are they happy with the tactics? Are they not? What is the coaching staff teaching them to improve them? What's the training drills week to week? I don't know. But we can certainly see that, yeah, I used to have a go at Duke because I used to see a very poor player at West Ham. Again, like Ben Johnson, couldn't mark anyone. You could easily, every time West Ham conceded he was playing, it's because of him. His mark had gone walkies. But what I'm hearing now, Fulham are very, very happy with him. So that is another interesting point for Ben Johnson. The other thing I want to move on to is, Nolan. Apparently on the touchline at Brighton, there was a bit of an altercation between Nolan and David Moyes. I mean, we'll never truly know what it was, but I just wanted to mention it in case you guys have missed it, that it did happen. It's to do perhaps with some substitutions. Nolan obviously probably wanted to do something to get back in the game, and maybe Moyes delayed that or brought on, again, defender for defender, take off your creative player for another non-creative player, that kind of thing. So I'm glad that we're seeing this, because it's taken far too long. I mean, a backroom team has been virtually non-existent on the touchline. There's no personalities in there. And I don't know. I mean, one of the things back in my mind is the way the board is lazy. Nolan might be the caretaker manager until the end of the season. Maybe he's heard that and he's trying to be visible to the board, to the fans, and because I haven't seen anything from him in ages, right? But I thought I'd mention it. And then after the game, I'm hearing that Noble, Rice together had a go at Moisey over the tactics. So it's all coming out now, and it can't be that long now before Moyes goes. But I thought I'd tackle that. The final interesting takeaway was that the away fans are often known to be the hardcore, the long-term fans. Obviously spend a lot more money, travel a lot further than the home fans. And they generally, what I've been told is up to now, they've been okay with Moyes, or certainly loyal towards the team, which our fans always are. But what happened in the Brighton game, they kind of lost it. So they were obviously singing some songs in a comical manner, banter with the Brighton fans, but certainly saying things alongside of Moyes, don't want him there, that kind of thing. And so that kind of, it looks like the relationship between David Moyes and some of the comments he always mentions, things like, the West Ham fans should be happy with semi-final defeats and shouldn't dream of top six, that's not us. So he's certainly not helped us. And what I'm seeing on the ground, on the pitch, I think at Villa you're going to see it for the first time, that the fans are definitely going to go nuts. And for me, it's just a case of Sullivan only moves when the fans look at him. At the moment, it's been directed at Moyes a lot, but I think after the Villa game, and I don't see us getting any, and certainly not a win at Villa. I can't see us beating Villa. I can't see that, no way. I think that'll help Sullivan have a plan B, which he hasn't, which is more worrying. But I just want Moyes out. Who comes in after that, we'll think about it afterwards. It's just kind of the board's problem. But I thought I mentioned that key takeaway. So again, key takeaways, quickly summarising: negative tactics, prolonging and carrying on game after game, especially Brighton. You've had so many games against Brighton. I thought you'd do something differently. You'll certainly match them up and give them something to worry about. Ben Johnson, very, very poor display, mixture of the way he's been managed at the club, and some of it sits on his own shoulders. Then the interesting point, how players like Ben Johnson leave the club and look half good. Something to just think about. Skamaka, I think, is a poor way of managing a human being before a player, and it's a disgrace. There were stories of Alex Crowell crying in his car, not spoken to. You don't do that to human beings, so I'm hearing that more and more. Skamaka, where is he? He's a half decent player, I know that. it's not on, you know. And then obviously the arguments between Nolan, Noble Rice against David Moyes, the fans' relationship. That's kind of the 5 takeaways I've got. But apart from that, have a great Wednesday. Take care. We got the Europa Conference game tomorrow, so perhaps, hopefully, I will be able to fit in a quick preview of that game, AEK Larnaca. So take care, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.